back. Another Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford. Coming right back at you here for Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Just about wrapping up on an edit for audio listeners out there. The latest PCC Multiverse for the Pop Culture Cosmos channel. For all you audio listeners out there, you will get one for Friday morning on your Friday morning drive. You'll have your choice. You'll have a Lakers Fast Break and a PCC Multiverse for your Friday morning drive. So check it out as we cover the world of video games on the latest PCC Multiverse, including the Xbox rates going higher, but also as well so much to talk about, including GTA 6 and so much more. So go ahead and check it out here on YouTube at Pop Culture Cosmos or wherever you get your podcasts. Legends here from I Got Next Sports Media. Please go ahead and like and subscribe today to I Got Next Sports Media. And while you're in the mood for liking and subscribing, don't forget to go ahead and like and subscribe to the Lakers Fast Break. Become a member today for just $2.99 a month. And hopefully you will sustain that over the course of the summer. And it's greatly appreciated if you do. Plus also as well support great folks like Stone Hansen, of course, Alfred Esmond, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, Empire Jet TV, all these great people, of course, Joe Soro and all of his stuff that he does, including the Joe Soro channel and the Experiment channel, which has had some issues today in regards to some internet troubles trying to get the Dodgers game on the air, although when it finally came on for people, Dodgers are kind of getting waxed right now, so not exactly the greatest viewing in the world anyway, so go ahead and hop on over here, but go ahead and make sure you check out all those other great places, all those other great people. The Lakerholics as well. I don't know what their status is for a weekend show. They can't seem to make up their mind on anything. I know they said they want to do a season-ending show, but then they don't commit to when the season-ending show will happen, so I will try to stir up the hornet's nest, so to speak, using the NBA vernacular and get the Lakerholics from Lakerholics.com back together once again. Make sure you like and subscribe to all these great people, all these great places, all these great things. It is greatly appreciated for all of us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Lakers Nation, I don't know where Joe is. Joe is doing what he needs to do. He's sent out an invite like everyone else. I run the channel. I've been the one that's been doing the shows over the course of the past few years. Joe is a panelist on the channel and sometimes runs shows on this channel when necessary. But for me today and for most of the 1,340 plus shows, it's been me. So Lakers Nation, if you want to hear or argue with Joe today, I don't know when that is or when that can happen, but he also has his Joe Soro channel. I don't even know if he's doing a show tonight as well. So hopefully we'll find out. He's a busy guy. So it's Joe Soro. I mean, when you run your own company, you're helping to finance a game on Steam and then also trying to run the streaming stuff. It's hard. It's hard. And also piss everyone off out there as well. That's a hard thing to do. So, again, Joe Soro stops by. He's got an invite already. So hopefully he will indeed. But for now, it is, of course, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Legend, always great to have you here. Yes. I think Lakers Nation, I think you exemplify the vast majority of audience in this channel. I think that, Legend, if you take a look at the comments, I think is a synopsis of the past 2.5 years of this channel in detail right there. The problem is somebody came up to me one time and said, you know what, I really like your channel, but you guys got a lot of trolls. And I said, man, you got enough trolls as Lakers Nation does. I said, that's great, but I don't have enough people that actually like the channel or not trolls as much as Lakers Nation. So if only I had both, I would be really, really happy with that. But Legend, great to have you here. Before we get into the topic today, or I'm going to get into it because I know Legend cannot stay on very long. I am going to go ahead and ask him his thoughts on the NBA playoffs, starting with his team, the Golden State Warriors, suffered an injury in game one, but still managed to get the game pulled out as far as the Great victory on the road in Minnesota. Unfortunately, they were not able to follow it up tonight as they're getting waxed off the floor. And seeing the lineups that Kerr is trying to put out there, I can't say I would blame anyone for getting waxed on the floor there tonight. The only thing I say this is you've got about a week, maybe even longer, depending on the severity of the hamstring strain for Steph Curry. Jimmy Butler has to become playoff Jimmy. He didn't become playoff Jimmy tonight. Are you concerned as the series continues to go on a little longer that playoff Jimmy is not to be found?
I'm a little concerned, and I kind of expect them to lose tonight because that's a lot to ask of this team to try to win this series without stuff. So I kind of expect that this was going to be a loss tonight, but I am a little concerned if playoff Jimmy going to show up without stuff. You're going to need him to give you about 25 or so. You're going to need that from Jimmy at this point. And
Mhm.
another thing I'm a little worried about as well when I watch our team play.
Mhm.
Sometimes offense get very stagnant. It be some stretches where they struggle to score. I love pods, but it be moments pods just can't throw a rock into a pun at this point. And that's something that I really do concern about going into this series. So I feel
Okay.
like there's some offensive issues that's going to begin to show without stuff right now, and that's what we saw tonight. I think the first quarter they only scored 15 points, and that's not going to cut it.
No,
That's that
no, they
offensive
start off.
issue.
Yeah, they started off the game on a real bad note. I think it was like 37-16, 15 at some point. It was a really, really bad deficit they had to overcome. And actually had it in that first half of the third quarter, cut it down to 7. And you're starting to say to yourself, what's Minnesota thinking? Is it just the fact that they're just reverting back to the means? But they were able to go ahead and put on the gas, get it going, close out the third quarter strong, and then it's already in cruise control. And the game is now over 117-93 as they go back to Golden State, tied 1-1. Your thoughts on this? I'm having a feeling because of the Steph Curry injury, this is probably going to go at least a minimum 6 games. And that may be, that's the best hope is that this series goes long so that Steph Curry can come back and be able to finish this out for you. Is that the feeling and the mindset of the Golden State fans right now?
That is the mindset of a lot of us. I can say like one of my students in my class is a Golden State fan, and even he's like hoping that we can get this thing to go 6, and hopefully he'll be back by
Mhm.
that point. Maybe get lucky, come back in game 5. But at this point, you gotta hope that this squad can at least squeeze one win when we go back home, get one, and come back to Minnesota 2-2. That is our best shot at this point to stay in this series. The biggest thing I worry about is we go home and we lose both of these 2 home games. That happens, series over. I'll say series is probably down. You gotta split it.
Okay. And I can't say I blame you on that. If we'll see what the tone is set this weekend when game 3 happens in Golden State. But a funny thing happened in some of the other contests that are out there, especially in the Eastern Conference. I mean, the Western Conference, I think that that first game by Denver may be, I don't want to say an anomaly per se, but OKC in that second game really set the tone with a almost 50-point win. I think things will get serious now as it gets to Denver. We will see how fast Oklahoma City can acclimate itself. The one thing that they do have is they have a deep bench and a deep roster. So those that are getting tired or short in minutes because of the altitude can be offset by the fact that they can run 10, 11 quality guys out there. Your thoughts on this series before we get to the Eastern Conference? Because I got a really interesting question to throw at you in regards to what's happening in the Eastern Conference.
I would definitely say Oklahoma could easily been up 2-0 right now. If the game winning situation in game 1 didn't happen and they would have executed better, they could have easily won game 1. They came out and really took care of their business in game 2. That game was over before halftime. So right now, I think that series is more interesting than what people think it is. But I
Mhm.
still think Oklahoma's going to end up beating Denver and probably 6, maybe 7. But if I'm
Mhm.
them, I would probably try to stay away from 7 because of what I saw in game 1 when they got tight and they couldn't execute and showed that young team experience situation. That's what I worry about happening if they go to game 7. So they take care of their business when they go to Denver. Try to end this series in 6. Avoid 7
Or 5.
or
You
5,
know
even
what?
better.
If they take the third game in Denver, they could really seriously take both in Denver, and that would just be a killer. Because I think right now, all the momentum is with OKC, and we'll see. Yeah, they're heading into Denver. Denver's used to playing in that altitude. We'll see how it affects everything that's going on. What's up, Jeff? Great to have you here, my friend. What's going on with that series? But again, OKC has a lot of confidence heading into Denver, coming off that nearly 50-point win, indeed. But I want to go ahead and talk about the Eastern Conference before we get into the main topic. And once again, it is Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. He's stopping by for a few minutes to go ahead and talk about today's NBA playoff standings and what's going on with the NBA playoffs. Golden State, of course, going back to Golden State, tied 1-1 after getting shellacked today by Minnesota. And then also Minnesota, I guess they were worried at second for Anthony Edwards. He got the scare with the ankle injury, but looks like he's going to get it out, and he continued to play in the game, and we'll see how that ankle feels going into game 3. But in the Eastern Conference, as Joe, Lakers Nation, you got your wish because Joe's coming on here in a second. But Legend, before you head on out, I want to hear your thoughts on the Eastern Conference playoffs. You got both favored teams down 0-2, and they're both headed to the underdogs arena for the next 2 games, Indiana and MSG in New York. Which of these 0-2 teams do you have more confidence in pulling this series out? Their series out, I should say.
I would have to say I'm gonna go with Boston just because of the championship experience, and I feel like Cleveland's still a little bit on the young side. It's just asking a lot of it for a young team to try to get themselves out of a hole. If anybody can do it, I think it's that Boston team. But it depends if they're gonna continue to live and die by the 3-point shot. That's what killing them at this point. I'm gonna ride with Boston, but I'm kind of shaky on Boston too. Because Tatum just ain't looking like he's it right now.
We also got to remember in Cleveland, they have a myriad of injuries for the first time. I think literally all season long, they are now experiencing some injuries at what most likely is the wrong time of the year to have it. Predicated on Darius Garland having a turf toe, which if you've had that, that's pretty nasty stuff right there, especially if you're not a football player or a soccer player. And when you have that outside of that, it just makes it even a little bit worse. Plus also as well, Hunter and Mobley also have had injuries, I believe both ankle injuries, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's kind of troubling for Cleveland that it's all happening at once. And they're going into a very confident Indiana home right now, with Indiana really playing at a high. Halliburton, after his game-winning shot and big balls routine out there that he got a warning from the NBA by, it looks like, again, Indiana, I would agree with you. Even though there were some great victories by New York and the New York Knicks, Legend, I would have to lean towards Boston right now. And Joe, I'm going to get your hot thoughts in your sec. But Legend, I know you have to go here because you said you would give me 15 minutes. But at this point, for the playoffs this weekend, what are you excited for the most, my friend?
I would honestly say the most I'm excited for, and it's crazy. I'm actually more excited over this game than my Warriors. Is seeing how this Knicks and Boston game gonna continue to play out. Because I would be completely shocked if the Knicks manage to win this series. That's gonna be huge if they manage to do it. I have to watch first take at this point just to see how Stephen A is feeling. To see his Knicks on the verge of the NBA Finals.
He's a happy man right now, and for a lot of other reasons as well. But it is Legend. Legend, what you got coming up on your channel before you head on out, my friend?
I will be doing another NBA Talk podcast this upcoming weekend, like I did yesterday, and just talking more about the continued round 2 and discussing what's currently going on through the playoff and discussing if my Warriors still got a chance or if we finna be going to Cancun with everybody else.
There you go. We'll find out who is going to Cancun. You won't find out this weekend, most likely. You'll find out probably sometime earlier in the week. We'll probably have a better idea what's happening with that. But it is, of course, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. When you can stay longer, my friend, give me a holler, and I'll make sure you come back on to share your thoughts on the NBA. It is Legend. Go ahead and check them out at I Got Next Sports Media. Thank you, my friend. I know you got an early day in the morning. I wish you well. Wish you a great weekend. Good luck to your Warriors. And please don't hesitate to come back on when you can, my friend.
I will do. You guys have a good night. Hey, make sure you guys subscribe, especially a Laker fan. You have no reason. You need to subscribe.
Absolutely.
Take care, guys.
Well, you too, my friend. Well said. It is Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Please go ahead and check him out there. But also here today is a good man indeed. It is, of course, Joe Soro. Like somebody calls out for Joe Hendry and he appears. Somebody calls out for Joe Soro and he appears. It is, of course, the man behind SimBladesWithAY.com, the Joe Soro experiment, which they finally have. Do they have that up and running now? As far as is the game on? I think it is. Not exactly the greatest game to watch, and also as well, of course, his corrupt game on Steam. It is Joe Soro. Joe, good to have you here. Before we get into Giannis and the Lakers and all that, I want to ask your thoughts on the playoffs so far. You just saw without Steph Curry, it didn't look good at all for the Golden State Warriors as they got trounced in Minnesota. Your thoughts as it heads back to Golden State. Do you think Golden State with playoff Jimmy, if playoff Jimmy comes around, has a chance to go ahead and hold out until Steph Curry gets back so they can finish out their series against Minnesota?
I think Steph is toast for the next few weeks. They're being optimistic, but usually a hamstring or a groin is, especially with his mileage, that usually spells trouble. Doesn't really go away. I don't know how to assess this year's playoffs. The games have been weird,
to say the least.
Yeah. All I care about right now is the Knicks finishing off Boston. I don't care about anything else. As long as Boston is done, and I have a hard time believing that the Knicks are going to lose both games at home. I think if they're going to lose, they lose one and win the other and go up 3-1. What happens after that is a different story. The pressure of Boston winning this year is pretty high because the noise is already coming out that their $500 million payroll won't really be a $500 million payroll this summer. You're going to see major transactions out of Boston with the new ownership, and that is a 100% reality. So it's all the more important, with all the more importance in making sure that Boston doesn't win it. It can ease the tension from the Lakers debacle. And whoever wins it in the end, I'll be cheering for the Knicks to win it. I would like to see a Tom Thibodeau team win a championship. He's been much maligned. He's been much maligned in his career for overplaying, overusing, being old school, and it'd be nice to see that kind of put to bed and actually. It'd be like playing old school baseball and winning in an analytical era. I just don't know if they'll end up blowing their wad if they end up beating the Celtics. But then again, who are they going to play? Pacers? Cleveland? I'd say the favorites are still going to likely be Oklahoma City to win it, even if Boston gets past them. Because I think they're probably the hardest matchup for the remaining three teams in the East. An injury would have to succumb to their demise, which seems to be happening lately.
Yeah, as I mentioned, for Cleveland, they have incurred more injuries as of late than any time in any point of their season. So it's very concerning. But you're right. I think Legend is right. Of the teams that are down 2-0, I think Boston is the more likely to come back in the series. But Joe, as you and I know,
but wait a minute. How? But wait a minute. May I
well,
be
for
the
our fans
devil's-
out there, Magic Man Sean Grice, the madman from Toronto, he did pop in on having to go ahead and crash through like the Kool-Aid Man right here to crash in. Come in. Go ahead, Magic Man. I was going to set you up, but you set up yourself, my friend. You did my work for me. All good.
Thank you very much, Gerald. Yeah, I wanna vehemently disagree with Legend. What evidence is there that Missoula is a good enough coach for Boston to come back down 0-2?
Well,
They were down. Wait a minute. Wait.
I was just trying to give you his rationale and reasoning. But
Well, I've got one. In 2023, you were down 0-3 to the Miami Heat and still lost in a game 7.
Mhm.
So you were down 0-2 to the Miami Heat and still lost. So give me some rationale, like evidence that Missoula can come back, because he hasn't come back from this before.
We're just saying because Cleveland has injuries right now to 3 of its top 5 players. In the case of Garland, I think it's something he'll need surgery on in the offseason because that turf toe is nasty. And Mobley, I think, and both Mobley and Hunter have sprained ankles, or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, no, I think they both have sprained ankles.
So it's just based on health, Magic Man, when we're talking about that. I agree with Legend on that sense because it's based off of health. But as Joe said, if New York wins at MSG on the weekend in game 3, you know the odds. We all know the odds. Once a team goes up 3-0 in the series, it's toast. It's essentially toast. So even though Joe said, and he's right on that this has been a weird playoffs with so many comebacks, like the ESPN percentage meter, that thing needs to be thrown away in the trash because that seems to be like, the 99% victory thing seems to be going out the window like 4-5 times now. All that said and done, I just think right now that the Eastern Conference, to me, it's more interesting now than ever because you have the underdogs, Sean, in the catbird seat. Will both take it home? That's the question.
Okay, so here's the better question, Gerald. Who, in your estimation, is better, more likely to win Game 3? New York in a chaotic, hectic MSG crowd, or Indiana, Gerald?
I'm going to go with Indiana. I just think Indiana is playing with a lot of confidence and moxie and savvy right now, Sean. A lot of that is predicated by the most overrated player in the NBA, Tyrese Halliburton, who's taking that to heart. And I really think that they're playing a lot of confidence right now, Sean.
I would tend to agree with you, Gerald, although I think it would behoove New York to just try and put their foot on the throat and dig in as much as possible, because in their history, they have beaten the Celtics, but they've never really beaten them down.
Mm-hmm.
That really hasn't happened. Even with Pat Ewing and those boys, they never played that. I think Pat Ewing played the Celtics once or twice in the playoffs, so it's not a huge rivalry. But given the history, this is a time when New York can punk Boston. Usually it's the other way around. Remember when the Yankees were up 3-0 on the Red Sox, Gerald? Remember that? Yeah. I don't think it's lost on a lot of New York sports fans either. So I really think the Knicks should take it upon themselves to just crush them in Game 3. But I'm like you. I'm more leaning towards Indiana taking a stranglehold in their series.
Especially because of the injuries as well. I think that will play a factor. We'll see how they come back or not in Game 3 this weekend for both these teams. Joe, one final thing as far as the playoffs concerned, when it comes to MSG, I heard it said earlier this week that they think that that New York, that Game 3 will be the most important game for the New York Knicks franchise since 1999. And you and Sean, as historians, are very familiar with what happened with New York Knicks in the 90s. Do you think that's the case? And do you think they play like it's New York in 1999 on Game 3 this weekend?
Well, if they played like they did in '99, then that means they'll lose because they always lost the biggest games in the '90s
It's true.
when it mattered.
Good point.
So they need to not
especially
think
at home.
they need to not think about the '90s because the '90s were a decade of missed opportunities over and over again. The Knicks have to continue to play defense the way they have and create the same problems they created in game 1s and 2, which was the Celtics were so beaten down at the end of the games they couldn't make shots. And that's as simple as it gets. This is a shot-making league. If you can't make shots, you're not going to win. And it's as easy as that. It's not a complicated sport. And the Knicks are due beyond the due date. It's time for them to win game 3 at home, win a game that matters for once. And that pretty much puts a seal on the Celtics. And then hopefully they don't feel like they're satisfied, because I don't see how, if they end up beating them in 4 or 5 or 6, I don't see how they can't go all the way and win it all. And that needs to be something that mentally is there. Now, the cool thing about this particular roster is you do have Jalen Brunson, you do have Bridges, and you do have Josh Hart, who are known multiple winners in the level below the NBA. So these guys are actually champions, and they're champions twice over. So there might be a difference there. I know Patrick Ewing won before he got to New York, but Patrick Ewing, the more I read about how he was during that time, the more I realize why Patrick probably didn't win a championship. And a lot of it had to do with Michael Jordan, but it also had a lot to do with Patrick Ewing's attitude towards things. This particular group plays for each other. And I know that's cliche, but when you really, really care about one another, you get that extra kind of jump on things. The caring adds another dimension to the game. The only players I ever saw that didn't like each other and still won multiple times happened to just be Shaq and Kobe. I don't think we'll ever see that again. But more often than not, it's that camaraderie, and these guys have won together, and they've won in that same region, and they have, barring a major injury, they have the tools to finish this off. Beating Boston in 2 games should put you in the driver's seat at this point. And if you beat them, I don't see why you're going to meet anyone else other than Oklahoma City. That's going to be a problem. But Oklahoma City, if you're going to play defense the way you are, could be neutralized if you can handle Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And that's where I stand on that.
Once again, it is a snack pack for you. It is Gerald Glassford, along with Joe Soro and Magic Man Sean Grice. Truly appreciate your watching, listening. Cannot thank you enough. We'll try to be on throughout the summer. I'm thinking like one weekend show, and then also a Tuesday and Thursday type deal for us going forward, unless we have special shows like on the draft and our free agent frenzy shows. That's always been fun when we do that show. We get a lot of people just like by the hundreds at one time going live on. That was funny because I think we did over 300, I think, on that show at one time simultaneous. That was really a lot of fun. Magic Man, let me bring it back down to you. Okay, the playoffs again are just side note for us, and the main event is what the Lakers are going to do going forward. So with that, some decisions are going to be made. And one of the decisions that has to be made is by Giannis Antetokounmpo on whether or not he wants to stay in Milwaukee. Because if he stays in Milwaukee, he should already know that his team is doomed. They have no chance because not only are they a much older team than virtually any in the NBA, but they just got older with Damian Lillard now out with a Achilles tendon injury. And so his year is toast. So with that said in mind, he has every right to, for all that he's given that Milwaukee team and that Milwaukee organization, he has every right to respectfully ask for a trade. And no one in Milwaukee, I don't think, would say otherwise. No one would give him crap for it. No one would come back. If he does it in a respectful fashion, I think he has every right to do so. With that said and done, do you think he would, A, do that? And B, do you think he would dictate where he will?
Gerald's frozen to me. Joe, can you hear me? Yeah, Joe's frozen. And I can't hear you, Joe.
There you go. I'm back. Sorry. Now I'm having the Joe router issues now. At least it's doing it in the off season. I'll just say that so I can go ahead.
We can't hear a goddamn word you're saying, Joe.
Joe is he can say it now. So there you go. But Sean, let me ask you again your thoughts. Do you think it's time that he goes to management and decides to go ahead and say I want out?
I think if he wants to win another championship or two, Gerald, I think he's got the urgency to go to management and ask for that for sure. And as far as a list of teams, I'm not sure if he would do that. It seems to me the last time he was flirting with the idea of leaving, Gerald, was to potentially to Miami. Now, would you want to go to Miami now? I don't think so.
They don't have much. I mean, the Lakers seem like they have a treasure trove of assets compared to what Miami has right now, Sean.
Yeah, exactly. And then you compare that to the other teams that were listed, Gerald, the Knicks. So the Knicks would be intriguing to Giannis, I imagine, for all the reasons we're seeing right now. So it'll be interesting. I'd be very surprised if he was moved this summer, Gerald. I really would be, just because I don't think giving John Horst an extension means that Horst is going to just move Giannis just to move him. I think it's definitely an option for next summer for sure, but I just don't think teams in Milwaukee are both equipped to make a deal this summer. I don't see it happening.
Joe, he's 31. He is now. He's like you talked about 28 to 32 being the prime of a player's career. You talked about right in that 4-year mix. He is teetering on the end of that 4-year mix. He's still the number 3 in the MVP voting, and many consider him still a top 5 player in this league. Your thoughts, my friend, is it time for him to ask out because he can see the writing on the wall as far as the future, at least the short-term future of the Milwaukee Bucks?
I don't know. I don't know what he's never shown any indication of bailing out. That team has done everything for him, so maybe there is a sense of loyalty. He's won a championship. He wants to win more, but who's to say he's going to win if he goes somewhere else? So if I was him and I wanted control about where I wanted to go, I'd give it another year, see how things play out, and then make a decision next year.
I would say send me to San Antonio personally.
I wouldn't want to go to San Antonio.
I would say send me to San Antonio with Wemby.
Now that's a good question, guys. Okay, I'll start with you first, Joe. Why wouldn't you want him to go to San
Antonio? Because I think San Antonio. First of all, I think something's shifting in Giannis. It's similar to what happened to Durant after he left Oklahoma City. There's this cynical, jaded personality that's starting to burst out. And looking at how the San Antonio Spurs operate, I don't know if that's going to be a detriment to that. There were things I remember hearing in the 90s when Dennis Rodman was there. And I know Dennis Rodman is eclectic, right? But they like to. This isn't a disrespect to the course material, but they like that Bible study over there. And I don't know necessarily if Giannis is going to be about that kind of lifestyle. I think the 2000 Spurs were unique more in more ways than one. They were unique in that they had stars on there that were obedient, which is rare to see. And while Giannis could be, I think he could be that guy, I guess. He's a pretty respectable guy and tends to kind of go with the flow. I've never heard anything negative about him and teammates. But I feel that he wants to go somewhere where there's a little bit more excitement. San Antonio is not an exciting place. Winning is exciting, sure, but he can go somewhere where he can win and be exciting. And there's a few places where he can go. There's a place in Miami. There's a place in New York. There's a place in LA. And I think that would be his next move. I believe the best move would be to go to Oklahoma City because he would almost guarantee a championship there with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And it doesn't matter who they would send. They could send both Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren and 4 first-round picks, and that would be a good transaction. I believe Oklahoma City would end up winning it all if they stayed healthy. So that's where I stand on that. If he's going to go to a small market, I think he should demand to go to Oklahoma City. If he wants to play in a big city, Miami, New York, or LA would obviously be the 3 spots.
I think that's a very articulate point there. I would also say that building around Castle, Fox, and Wemby and Giannis is a very potent foursome, and that foursome is better than any foursome that the Thunder have. So I would just say that. I mean, the Thunder have a team of depth, but they couldn't match that top 4.
I would say if that's a realistic option, the San Antonio Spurs would have to get the first pick, and San Antonio would have to send Cooper Flagg to Milwaukee.
Wow, yeah.
But if they don't, there's no one else in the draft as good as it will be. This draft will have some talent, but it won't be that one piece. That's the only way I see Giannis going to San Antonio. Should he demand to go there, there's gonna have to be either De'Aaron Fox in that deal or if I'm Milwaukee, you got to give me Castle. You got to give me Castle and some capital, and that's still a good move. It's still a good move because if you do have Giannis, Fox, and Wemby, you have a definite chance to do some things because you got all 3 tiers. You got your middle, you got your big, and you got your guard. That is the holy trinity right there.
Now, you mentioned, guys, about the possibilities if Giannis were to ask for out and if you're able to do it sooner or later. Magic Man, you and I don't think that Miami just has enough assets unless he actually specifically says, I want to play at South Beach and South Beach only. I don't think that combined with what they have in draft picks or what they don't have in draft picks, plus their pool of players to choose from, I don't think anyone's enamored with Hero enough. I don't know if you want Adebayo because as his contract gets kind of expensive and for what he gives you in return is solid, but is close to $50 million a year, good enough for just solid play with Bam Adebayo. So that being said, I'm not sure, again, I'll reiterate that and I'll hear your thoughts. Is Miami a true destination for Giannis? should he decide to go ahead and walk on out.
Yeah, I don't think so either, Gerald. For all the reasons you stated, as well as the fact that uh, his his age now is definitely a factor, and what was, I think, what was falling into consideration for the two of them is that they were going to team up in Miami, not Milwaukee, and right, so that didn't end up happening. So now, when you look around the landscape, Gerald, in usually in the Godfather's case, normally one move follows another. So if he was going to bring Giannis in, he would have to have the object to bring somebody else in. And like we said, Gerald, there's not a lot of whales in the ocean this summer as far as free agency. So I don't think there's another sort of chip to fall for Rouse to take advantage of an opportunity to grab Giannis. Yeah, I don't think Miami's a realistic destination.
So if that's the case, again, and Magic Man said, well, Joe, the free agent market, yet the Lakers do not have enough in exceptions to really land a marquee free agent if there was one this summer. But there's not a free agent, marquee free agent out there anyways, unless you consider James Harden that. And we've all seen James Harden implode in the postseason so many times. I don't know if you can consider that to be a top free agent, but it is what it is there. I will say, Joe, that if this league is going to be active this summer, it's going to be off of trades, and it's going to have to be off of a lot of trades. And I know that, again, in the chat, they said Oklahoma City, the Rockets have a ton of assets. But again, Joe, I think when you're dealing with a superstar like Giannis, if he wants to leave and go to a contender, I think it has to be on his terms. This case with Giannis or any other high profile, whether it's Kevin Durant, whether it's Sabonis, whatever names you want to throw in there in the trade market, there's got to be a lot of movement with trades because there isn't going to be much to be had in the free agent market this summer, Joe.
Well, we have to wait and see how this playoffs finish, because I have a good feeling that Sam Presti's going to have to do something this summer should Oklahoma flame out again. They're going to have to make a big splash. I would call Milwaukee immediately after they get eliminated, if they get eliminated, before they're supposed to, and ask for Giannis. What do you want for Giannis? I have draft picks. I have up-and-coming players. I have players that are in their prime. Yeah, they're not Giannis's ilk, but these guys can be somebody you can build with the draft picks, and Oklahoma City has to get somebody to play with Shai Gilgeous. We know Boston is going to be trading a lot. They have to virtually cut probably 3 of those players off that roster. Otherwise, their payroll is going to murder them. Mm-hmm. So get ready for Boston, win or lose, for them to be trading. So is it White? Is it Porzingis? Is it Drew? Drew can be a huge asset for a team that needs one vet who's established. That's a definite.
A perimeter defender.
The Celtics payroll is almost as much as the Dodgers payroll.
And the thing is, with the Dodgers payroll,
with a lot less players.
A lot less players.
A lot of their money is deferred, which allows them to continue to sign bigger contracts. They also don't have an apron or 2 to have to worry about. So this is much worse. It's much worse. The previous ownership in Boston essentially said, we're going to sell this team anyways. Let's just go after it for one more title for the city's sake, for the players' sake. But for that, whoever has to clean this mess up,
good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
And I'd say Boston and the new ownership will take that hit if they can get through New York and get through and win it all again. I think they take that. Hey, we went through this. Now we have to unload. Hey, at least it got us a couple championships. So that's I'm sure how that's going to play out. The Lakers situation is likely going to be what third team will be involved in any trade that they do, which is going to be the obvious way of doing this because straight up trades are not going to work. They don't have enough assets to do it, to get quality players. And I don't think there's enough expiring contracts out there with talent that would be relevant with the Lakers either.
See, but Pelinka already tried that. And I wanted to, Gerald, I'm glad Joe brought that up to the attention of the pod, because that's the question I wanted to ask you. Instead of, so Gerald, Rob Pelinka picks up the phone and he calls the New Orleans Pelicans, who are being run by a football team right now, and have been run by a football team probably for the last 10 years.
Well, he's going to call Joe Dumars. Is who's
Yeah. Well, no, he's going to call Joe Dumars, and Mickey Loomis will be somewhere in that room listening in on the conversation. But yeah, so Joe Dumars will be in there, and so will Mickey Loomis. And Rob says, yeah, you know what? You know that trade I was going to make with Charlotte, Joe? I'll make it with you. But instead, I want Herb Jones. Would you be all right with that, Gerald, if the Lakers acquired Herb Jones with the same assets they gave the Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams? If you got Herb Jones.
Why not just go ahead and take a gamble? I know Herb Jones, great defender. His shooting and his scoring ability, kind of shaky. Let's just be honest. It comes and it goes. But his defense is always on par. One of the best defenders in the league. But would you not just try to go a little bit farther, Sean, if you're talking to New Orleans and just
sure, I want Trey Murphy the third too.
Well, no, Trey Murphy, I think, is untouchable for them.
I don't think so.
The guy who isn't, I think is not untouchable is Zion Williamson. So Joe and I have talked about this before, and you were on for it too. Why not, if you're talking with them, if you're going to go with that far with Herb Jones, just go a little bit farther. Remember, you have 5. Just to give everybody again a clarity on this, they have 1 first-round pick they can trade, and up to 5 swaps.
Yes,
they can do. So just give everybody heads up there, outside of any player contracts, etc. So Joe and I had talked about gambling on Zion previously before. If you're going to make that call for Herb, nice player Herb Jones, but he's not going to move the needle so far in one direction for you that it's going to make a huge difference. It's going to help your defense, absolutely. Your scoring and as far as other things, not as much, because again, not a dependable scorer, but absolutely fantastic defender. But why don't you just take a chance? If you're going to gamble, Rob's already gambling a lot. He's gambled a lot during the course of his tenure. We've talked about it, feast or famine. If you're just going to go that route, why not go all the way when you're talking to New Orleans about Zion Williams?
I think that would be great. I just think it's it's a Jiminy Cricket song, When You Wish Upon Us. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen again, Gerald.
Well, but if it does happen and they do get rid of him this summer, that means they just want to get out of the Zion Williams business.
Sure, that'd be great. I'm Gerald, we talked about this. That'd be great. I just don't think Rob Pelinka's that resourceful enough to pull that off.
Joe, do you concur on that? I mean, we've talked before about Zion, because again, if I'm just there talking about Herb Jones, at least I'm going to actually just bring up the possibility of Zion Williamson, Joe. Just to see.
Zion would have to make a commitment, and you'd have to believe him. He has to be at 240, in my view. And he's got.
Yeah, you said that. That's a good weight. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, Zion at 240 would be a absolute machine in the NBA, because that vertical and his aggressiveness and his talent would flourish, especially with someone like Luka throwing on the ball.
There's your
And
small ball 5 for you.
you're talking, yeah. No, that I mean, you can shift to that small ball 5 with with Zion at 240. Yeah, you're talking about highlight reel. You're talking about top 10 Sports Center highlights. Do they even have those anymore? By the way,
Mhm.
jeez, I haven't watched that stuff in so long. But how do you know? Especially being in LA. LA is not any better than New Orleans
Mm.
in terms of it's actually worse in my view.
A lot of cuisine in LA.
Yeah, a lot of better food. I
A lot of
think you can
Mexican food, a lot of
yeah,
carbs in LA,
Yeah.
man.
yeah.
It's all carbs in LA.
Joe makes a good point there.
Saturated fat in New Orleans, lots of carbs in LA, and he would have to completely immerse himself in basketball, and he would have to convince Rob. He'd have to convince Jeannie. He'd have to convince JJ, and he would be better there without LeBron too. And
Because
that's
Zion and Luca have there's always been whispers of them wanting to play together. Most people just thought it'd be in Dallas, but now obviously things have changed. So that would be interesting. I'm just, and by the way, Joe didn't answer the question. Is Palinka that resourceful to get it done?
Wook dog. This is a show where we discuss scenarios. Stop talking about, please stop wishful thinking dreams. We didn't say this stuff was going to happen. We're figuring it out if it were to happen.
By the way, I just
Could it really
mentioned
happen?
Jiminy Cricket. So when you
And
wish
by the way,
upon
the
a
Lakers just got Luka Doncic for
Peanuts.
AD on the way down and Max Christie. So saying this is wishful thinking is pretty ignorant on your part, considering what's happened already.
Thank you, Nico. Our inglorious, gratifying. Thank you, Nico. Again.
So, Joe, with that again, and Magic, I think you'll agree that if there's going to be a myriad of activity for these teams, it's going to be done on the basis of trades, whether it's around the draft, around free agency, what have you. It's going to have to be done via acquisitions because Brooklyn, as we've stated before on this show, is the only one that's going to have a myriad of cap space. Thank you, Ben Simmons. That's going to have a myriad of cap space this off season. But with that, nobody wants to go play in Brooklyn. And Brooklyn might actually get rid of even more of their players because of the fact that they realize, you know what, a lot of these players that we have on our team just aren't that good. That being said, Joe, the Lakers have got to be one of those teams that I think has to make some moves this offseason. But although you have said you're more on the plan of waiting until there's more cap space freed up for the Lakers in 2026, if that's the case, do you see Luka? I'm not worried about LeBron because LeBron's LeBron. That's going to take care of itself at some point in time, in some year down the line, whether it's this year, next year, or the year after. I'm worried more about Luka. Do you think Luka has that same timeline in mind with the organization, or is he going to go ahead and infer that the Lakers try to do something sooner rather than later?
That's why you have an agent. The agent should infer that if you're going to take us seriously, what's your decision on the transfer and power? Transfer and power is Luka, which I'm fully confident that the Lakers are committed to Luka at the expense of LeBron. Not because we want LeBron out, not because LeBron is who he is. It's time. And you have control over that time in a year from now. And a year from now, you're going to have a lot of expiring contracts should you not trade them, as well as the biggest one in LeBron. And at that point, you allow yourself to have a lot of flexibility to make decisions, give offers. Who's going to be available next year? Not really. Even looking at the free agent market next year, I don't see anything too big. But you allow yourself to open up trade talks at least. And if Jokic and Giannis decide to stay the next couple of years and use their option to opt out in 2027, then you really have an opportunity to control that as well. But as
I'm
far
not going to
as
say that there's a zero chance of Jokic moving, but I think Jokic might
no,
be
it's not likely that he'll come to LA. But the point is, here's the thing.
Mhm.
Did anyone really think Durant was going to go to Golden State in 2016? It started to get weird towards the end when he did make a decision to go there, but that was kind of like why would he go to Golden State? They're already stacked there. But he did because he wanted to win. He was tired of being second on everything. I mean, he won that MVP in 2014, but that was voting fatigue. That should have been LeBron's MVP. And the Lakers are in a position where they have a player whom people want to play with because Luka gets along with everyone. Luka will give you the ball. Luka's game will enhance the better teammates he has who actually do score. And it won't be all encompassing. There won't be this cloud constantly like we've had with LeBron. LeBron is a energy zapper even when they're winning. He's the hot chick in a relationship that never shuts the fuck up. And you keep dating, you keep staying with this lady because you're worried about losing half your money, especially if you're in California.
You just leave everything on red.
Yes. He is the most energy draining superstar I have ever seen. And I watched Shaquille O'Neal for 8 years. Shaquille O'Neal was like, you were like babysitting that guy. You had to babysit him.
I'm going to tee this up for you, Joe. Lakers Empire says, I've heard a lot of rumors that people don't like playing with Luka. So, Joe, you're wrong.
Everything that dickless schlep says is the opposite of what happens. I just ignore him. He's a fucking idiot.
Oh, okay. I thought I was going to set that up for you. Like
He's
T-ball.
got like 3 accounts that he's on probably right now talking shit.
He's flapping. He's going over. Man, we've got other people that do that. That's just a lot of work going from profile to profile to make comments. Guys, just calm down. Just choose one profile.
You'd be more productive flicking your balls in front of a mirror, to be honest with you. At least you can see yourself smiling a little bit.
We went from a G to a hard R really quickly, Magic Man, on the rating there.
Joe.
This
Joe just
internet
ripped off that knob. Joe just ripped off the knob.
This internet thing is quite hilarious. It really is. It's allowed dinkuses to have a forum to speak when they shouldn't even exist.
Okay. This is just hilarious. Oh, so funny. Their responses are just like, you guys really don't know who you're talking to when you guys say this stuff, right? They'll just go off on you and embarrass you and make you look bad. And we'll just get views off of it. That's the best part. Is when Joe goes off on you guys, embarrasses you, I can make a short of it like I did the other day and get views off it. And it'll make you guys look even dumber. So I don't know. If you want to be demoralized in front of a large audience,
I had a steak, rice, and broccoli about an hour and a half ago. I'm well fed. I make a lot of money. I do what I want. I eat what I want. That's the perk.
Oh, that's so funny. So Magic Man, getting back to it again.
By the way, that sounds like a really good dinner, Joe.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. It was so good that the steak was barbecued 2 days ago. And I purposely prepped food because I've been in and out so much this last week. I just wanted to be able to get home and eat. No, normally I like to have a half a potato though at night. It just has a better flavor to it versus rice. But didn't have enough time, so I had leftover rice, and then I ate dry broccoli because I don't feel like I taste the broccoliness as much when I steam it. It's just dry and kind of tasteless. So yeah.
I like it boiled myself.
No. It's better, but it's kind of like cucumbers. You have to get it at that perfect moment, and usually broccoli is hard to get at that perfect, boil. And I didn't have the time. I wanted to watch the game, the Dodger game, and kind of get my food out of the way so I could just focus on the game and eventually get
I
on the
wish
show.
Yamamoto would have focused on the game as well.
Well, I mean, Yamamoto has been pitching for almost a year and a half, and that was his first shelling. It's bound to happen. You know what? Yeah, but the body doesn't say it's disgusting. Body says thank you for the nourished, easily digested food.
Those are good nutrients right there. I'm not sure who's trying to argue against us, but you're a fucking idiot. Those are good nutrients.
With that said, it is again the Lakers fast break. So Magic Man, I turn to you. It's not wishful thinking. It's just, again, something where the writing is on the wall for Milwaukee, Magic Man, when it comes to Giannis. And I could easily see it happening, where he just says, you know what, my time in here has been great. I've been very loyal to the franchise, but I'm 31. The injuries are starting to pile up, and I'm not getting any younger. I want to go where I can still make a difference. I'm at a high level still playing in the NBA, and I can still affect the team's chances in winning a championship. Now, we saw where he's not – I don't think he's the defender that he once was. We saw Halliburton prove him wrong on a couple of occasions on those ISOs. And I was like surprised that like Giannis, even with his long arms, could not get to Halliburton. Your thoughts, though? He can still make a difference. He's still one of the top 10 players in the league by virtually everyone out there's estimation. Where do you go? Where do you think he will go to make a best difference? That's best. Again, the Lakers, I think he would be a good fit. I think, like Joe said, that Luka is a great option for him if that's the case. But I'm not sure if ultimately he asks out that would happen, because I just don't know if he would be decisive enough to say, yeah, I'm going to go to the Lakers.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good, great question. Little layers to it. I think so. Joe already kind of alluded to it. So the best situation for him to end up in would likely be Oklahoma City. Gerald, his window would be wide open for probably the next 4 or 5 years. I think his quickest way to try and win would be to go to the Lakers or the Knicks. However, if you're going to go to the Knicks, I think that's another Carmelo situation, Gerald, where you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. You're acquiring a great player, but you're probably going to have to give up a lot of that great depth that you've acquired already, and surrender that in order to attain Giannis. So I think the Knicks would have cold feet about that personally. We ruled out Miami. So I honestly, Gerald, I think it's between, kind of the Lakers, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and probably some other mystery team that we're not really have on our radar right now.
Fair enough. But
because the list of destinations that aren't from him, just people surmising, are big markets. There's nothing to say that Giannis wouldn't go to another small market either. Paul George did it. He went from Indiana to Oklahoma City. So it wouldn't be uncommon for Giannis to pull that kind of move.
That's true. If he really is serious about winning, obviously that's the best option. Plus, he wants to help Milwaukee the most. But again, the allure of the Lakers always seems to get just them in the conversation, so to speak. So, Joe, if that's the case, I don't know. Did you intimate that the franchise, if they don't get something like Giannis falling into the laps, like Luka fell into their laps, do you see? Did you say that this franchise is in a way paralyzed by LeBron and what his decision to make in the future going forward? I don't know. I was trying to get your read the other day on that, on your LeBron takes on that. Is that what you were in a nutshell intimating?
That LeBron is handicapping the Lakers.
Yeah, paralyzing, with his, whatever decision he's going to make, how much he makes, his age, what, the basically the synopsis of it all. I was trying to
He would if they extend him.
do the 1-and-1.
Correct. Again, that would be suicide. But if whatever happens between now and 2026 is going to happen anyways. Unless he opts out, which I have no indication in any way that he is. He's not going to turn down $50 million, and he's not going to have a parade and a box of chocolates with flowers in his last year. I'm curious to see if that is the case, though. Will he say this is his last season? That's kind of what I'm waiting on. The Lakers have to make that decision in terms of not extending him. They cannot afford that. That's going to be very important, and I feel the Lakers need assistance with that from Luka's people.
So do you think it's a real possibility that they're going to ask LeBron to just say next year and that's it? I know you said you want that to be the case.
That has to be the case. It's not about what I want. It has to be. If the Lakers are serious about contending, they have to change.
Mm-hmm.
It has to go. LeBron is a fancy hood ornament right now for the Lakers. That's all he is. There's no substance in where it matters. All we're talking about all year round is about how he's 40 years old and how amazing he is at getting stats. That's all we talk about with him. And I'm sorry, that ends now. I don't give a shit if he averages 50 points a game next year. He can't score a point or make the right play at the end of games to save his life. That means the Lakers are losing, and it means nothing.
Magic Man, I want to bring it back to you. Okay, so if that's the case, then the LeBron thing has to play itself out. The Lakers do need to make some changes, do need to make some upgrades. I know you and I don't know if you and I are still on the same wavelength on as far as Austin Reeves and Rui. I think they need to be traded this summer. I don't think you're going to get any higher trade value for them unless you're trading this summer. As it goes into the season and as it gets to the trade deadline, because he will be offered extension by the Lakers. He being, well, maybe even Rui too. Both guys will probably be issued some type of extension, or at least Austin will be. And Austin will turn it down, looking for much more money, much more substantial money that he can get in the 2026 offseason, whether it's with the Lakers or somewhere else. I think it's imperative that the Lakers go ahead and seek out trades for AR and or Rui, because I think that this team is not going to make any serious upgrades until they do so. Your thoughts on that? Because I know you've been really a great backer of Austin Reeves. At one time you said that he could be an all-star next season. If that's still the case, are you still with me, or are you thinking somewhere else? Or are you waiting to see if how this plays out with AR, and if he can still maintain that high level of play?
Oh, thank you, Gerald. Excellent question. Yeah, I did state that I thought that on a team with Luka Doncic and LeBron James, Austin Reeves could be that third all-star on a team, especially with that kind of hype and attention. Outside of those influences, Gerald, I think he's borderline. I think if Tyler Hero can make an All-Star, can get voted to an All-Star game, Gerald, Austin Reeves can. I've made that argument before. I'll continue to make it. I don't think he's going to be a Laker next regular season,
I don't think
Gerald.
Rui or him will be a Laker
I don't think so.
2020. I think they both will walk. And the thing is, do you keep them or try to keep them as long as you can, and let them walk, or do you try to trade them for value? That's the question you have to ask yourself, Magic.
That is a question, Gerald, and I'm with you. I would try and get as high a value for both of them as I could because they're both going to walk.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough indeed. Joe, do you agree with Magic and I then? Again, I'm thinking if you let this play itself out with both Reeves and Rui, both of those guys, you let them walk in free agency, there's going to be many more teams than just Brooklyn that's going to have cap this time next summer. So with that being said, do you let it play itself out with Austin and Rui on the team still, or do you trade them while they still have a pretty good value coming up this offseason?
Naturally, you'd want to get value, yeah. However, I wouldn't be too concerned next year because you're freeing up between both of them. You're freeing up $31 million, and then you got LeBron coming off the books for 50. People are going to come to LA to play with Luka, man. I'm not even worried about that. You just got to put yourself in a position where you can. That's going to be key here. Got to build around Luka starting this summer, even if it's a small transaction. At least a center, which I have full confidence that the Lakers are they're gonna go and get a center, and they're gonna give it another run with this because they have no choice. LeBron's not going anywhere for another year at least. So try to maybe add if you can add another perimeter player that can actually do something. Maybe that person is in the second round that they pick, and he happens to be a guy that just comes out the gate that's playing like Podziemski, right? Something like that.
Uh-huh.
And then you have that one transaction that you're able to make where you can get a legitimate starting center. Now, with Luka having a training camp, a summer, a good amount of time off, he comes back next year focused, not worrying about his house, not worrying about Dallas, not worrying about what's going on around LA with the fires. You go straight, put your head down, and understand that Luka Doncic, should he play 75 to 80 games next year, is likely going to be the MVP.
Okay, fair enough. If the Lakers do have right around what their record is right now, or a little bit higher, I'm sure Luka would be the best, or most likely the star player. Biggest reason why that would be the case, and obviously would be high up in that MVP consideration at the very least. Indeed, Magic Man is because some people in the chat they seem almost confused at why would Rui and Austin walk, and it's simple mathematics, Magic Man. You have two players, one that's a 20-point versatile player in Austin Reeves that can facilitate, be a secondary playmaker, and get you 20 points a game. And then you have a forward, 6'8" forward that shoots 40% from the three-point area that can alternate between, he doesn't. He's weird because he doesn't fit as a true 4 and he doesn't fit as a true 5 or a true 3, but he can guard based on the matchups, either one of those slots. So he, in the right setting, in the right team, he can accentuate it really well. And in the certain playoff settings, he has. So with that, Magic, it makes sense to believe and understand that if both guys are ready to cash out in 2026, most likely what would be their biggest contracts ever, it would be safe to assume that they're both waiting for that summer 2026 to do just that.
Yes, 100%, Gerald, and not to mention the fact that if I'm not mistaken, I believe Rui can sign a max extension worth up to $33.9 million a year. Though he's not going to get that from the Lakers. So obviously, Gerald, if he's shooting 40% from three in the regular season and the playoffs, and also accumulating those kind of numbers off wide open looks, he might not get that, but he's gonna get a big contract bonus, Gerald, and it won't be from the Lakers. It'll be from somebody else because, like you said, Gerald, you can walk out the door and there are 8 offer sheets waiting for you right there before your eyes even hit the sun. The agent's got the papers right in front of you. Who do you want to sign with?
Exactly. And again, as someone who hits 40% from three, that is a marketable skill. And if you can play even, and he does at times play adequate defense. He makes the effort. And as he did, even in the first round against Minnesota, he played defense at adequate levels at times. He played with great effort, which he can do.
And they both have fanfare, Gerald. So
Yes.
they both are draws as far as a niche fan base is concerned. So you also have that as well. Their jerseys sell. So it's not as if this is a situation where everybody out there, if they walk out the door, it's going to be hands in the pockets, the wind, and it's forlorn, Gerald. No, there are going to be plenty of offers for those two guys.
I think there will be, and so that's the thing, Joe. So you have to consider among the many possibilities this summer. Again, if Giannis decides he wants out, that could change the dynamics for everything out there. Is there another player out there, Joe, like Giannis, that if you Jokic, let's put that to the side, but is there any other player that you think that could walk up and just change the dynamic of things, that they walked up and said, you know what? I think it's time for me to leave, like Giannis. If he sees the writing on the wall and says, you know what, it's time for me to go. Is there another player like that for you?
I don't think so, because I don't think Jokic wants to leave Denver, and I don't see Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum wanting to leave Boston yet.
Okay.
There's really not a lot of guys that are going to be impactful like that.
One extension kicked in for both for either of them this year, and the other one kicks in next year. Am I correct on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just want and in the case of one of them, what was it, Brown or was it Tatum? It goes into the mid-70s as far as millions of dollars.
I thought it was Brown.
Okay, so that gets very expensive very quickly, and like you said, Joe, if they are paying a substantial, if they're paying more in tax than they are in regular salary, which could be a very well possibility if they try to keep that team together. Yeah, the economics just don't make sense, and I assume that 2 or 3 of those players of that core will probably be traded at some point in time. It just is a question: is the Lakers at all, or would they be at all in the mix for any of them? But the Lakers do have to make some changes and do have to make some upgrades. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, Gerald, I was gonna say there's really only one. If so, next year, if the wheels come off the bus and things are turning sideways again, Cade Cunningham might ask Detroit to send me somewhere else.
Really? That's one that I wouldn't expect, because he's just young, just got through his first playoffs. Wow. So if that goes back south, they go back down to the 14-win team that they had. That could be that could be a difference if they went from a 40-plus win team to a 14-win team. That I could understand that, as far as that being a different dynamic. And we've seen he is now playing at the level of what he was picked at as a number 1 pick. So that would be very interesting to see. Also, Wemby, if this doesn't work out by the end of the decade, could you see that happening, guys? Like, let's say 29, 30, and that around. Could you see that happening?
Yes.
I think Wemby would be impatient. I really think Wemby would be impatient on that, because I've talked to during the draft process. I knew Rafael Barlow. I knew Michael Weisenberg. I knew other people that got a kind of a beat on him, and through that Stone Hansen as well. got some his competitiveness. I think is at a level that few players really have, and in doing so, if San Antonio does not build a winner down there or consistent winner by the end of the decade, yeah, you could see him want to bolt as well. But I don't know where the Lakers.
I can see Devin Booker possibly too.
And that's the thing, because I heard Devin Booker is a no touchy, and I think right now, Joe, considering Phoenix's financial position and the fact that KD is not going to get you a haul back because he's 37 years old and he's no longer bringing the value on his return that he once did, I think Devin Booker would be the best option for Phoenix to trade right now.
So looking at looking at the contracts, this is another thing to consider for 2027. Devin Booker, Devin Booker actually has. His contract runs through 28. I'm sorry. Karl Anthony Towns, he has a option as well after 2027, player option. Jokic obviously has one. Giannis has one. Rudy Gobert has one. Coincidentally, Anthony Davis has one. Next year, Trae Young has one, which that's not going to happen because you have Luka. But there's going to be some players that Donovan Mitchell, that's another one that has a player option in 2027. So looking at if things stay the same the next 2 seasons, let's say Giannis, Jokic, and Marshall all play out their contracts, there's a chance that in 2027 you could see Jokic, Giannis, and Donovan Mitchell opt out of their deals to become free agents. That's a pretty interesting free agent class for the Lakers to probably have a chance at getting one of them.
And again, Booker,
I think 2027, looking at how this is going to play out, I really believe 2027, that summer, is probably going to be the summer where the Lakers do something. I mean, they could do it before, but it would have to be somebody that says, I need to come to LA. And the team that's trading that particular star obliges. And Milwaukee would, because Giannis has been very good, and they've been good to him. There hasn't been any rift there. They've done everything they could.
No. And he knows that, but again, he also knows
they would honor his wish. If he said, I want to go to the Lakers, can you please make it work? Then at that point you're gonna have something work out there in some way.
And the scrub fart Buck fans who don't like it and want to whine and complain, oh no way, not the Lakers, not the Lakers, losers.
Again, it's up to. I think it'd be up to him. I think the organization, he would be respectful of the organization. The organization would be respectful of him, and they would try to meet on a team or teams that they could negotiate with, if that's the case. But I think their season magic.
Problem is, like, being a sports fan in that state, in that city. I mean, he's been the really only consummate and consistent superstar you've had, really. I mean, really. I mean, it's been over 25. It's been almost 30 years since Brett Favre. The Brewers, God bless them. They try real hard, Joe. They spend money. They try real hard, but they just can't get over the hump.
I don't think the Lakers would be the number one destination unless he makes it the number one destination. But next year is toast already for them, and he's got to see that already. Yeah, Damian Lillard with the Achilles injury.
Search, can you please destroy the gay shit that's going on right now, please? You sick fucking piece of shit. This isn't a bodybuilding page, dude. Get the fuck out of here. I hate that stuff. That stuff I don't like. No, don't do that. You want to be gay? Go to the gay pride parade. This is not one of them. Even if it's a joke.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
Of this shit.
He's already done it on YouTube. It still shows up in our
scumbags.
You guys, when you ask for it, you ask for it. You're just asking for it because he just goes ahead and rips on you and demoralizes you.
That's what they want. They're
again,
masochists. These are the kind of guys that want women to step on their faces and their dicks. Sick fucks.
I just watched the Dark Side of the Ring with Tony Aplis episode. That's
half the show was about that garbage. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to listen to Tony Atlas and his career and how badass he looked. Like, dude, that guy looked like a god. Yet
But
they're
the
talking
first-
about some bullshit
first
shoes.
chunk, yeah.
Like, what the fuck
Yeah.
is this?
because that's what he likes, Magic Man, or he liked at that point in time. I think he's worked himself out of it. He's become a much better person. He's taken care of his wife who suffered a stroke, but he had and he was very honest.
Well,
You know, I
doesn't she
appreciate his
find that
honesty about
weird though? Other women
It-
doing things
it.
to him.
It's weird, absolutely, but he you know what, he was honest about it, but they took, it's like they spend a whole
Man,
chunk of it.
I'm not gonna
I'm not
delve I'm not gonna delve into this too much, but lately, some of the shit I found out about people I know has set it off even more for me. It's just I'm sick of
Set
this.
what off?
People are sick and people are sick. People
Yes.
are freaking sick. They're disgusting.
I know, Serge. Again, you know,
Yes.
it's going to so much work by putting multiple accounts out there. If you do it, that's a lot of work for you. I don't know why. Do you want to be all those accounts banned or humiliated?
After a while, search, they'll go away if you keep just
Yeah.
setting them off. But this is stupid now. Now it's getting out of hand. Every other post was some garbage. It's like,
No
dude, what are you
baby
doing?
oil.
You want to talk? You want to talk sports here? You want to jerk off? Go jerk off somewhere else. We're grown ass men here. This isn't
So-
MySpace, XXX, whatever the hell it is.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
It's okay, John. Maybe you don't want to know. I'll just leave it at that. But before we head on out, Joe, we'll get it back to you on a basketball question. Get back to you. Who is feasible for the Lakers, in your opinion, this offseason? Again, Giannis, again, we've used that as the header. That's just in case he decides to ask out. And that's just in case he decides to put the Lakers on this. Because, you know, when these things happen and somebody asks out, the Lakers are always inevitably put on the list, even if ESPN puts the name on the list because they want to get clicks and views. Who do you think is feasible for this Laker team? And don't say Kevin Durant, please, because Kevin Durant does not make us, he makes us older, but it doesn't make us much better.
I don't think it's going to be a star this summer. It's going to be an integral part of the pieces they need to fit around Luka and LeBron. I keep hearing things with this Durant thing. I don't know if it's just wishful thinking, but I keep hearing something about Jalen Duren. And I keep asking myself,
Boy,
why
Detroit
would Detroit do that? Why is there noise out of Detroit? Because I've also not heard Detroit say no. You would
I
think
thought they
by
said
now,
no originally before, because that
no,
the Lakers
but usually it's dead set. Hey, we are not trading Duren. I don't care how many people throw something here. Just I haven't heard anything like that. So
well,
what
I
does
thought
that
they
really
went
mean?
to. Reportedly, the reports are, you know, since we're going off of rumors and reports, like what was said earlier, that they went to Detroit first about Duren before they went to Charlotte.
Yeah, they asked for too much, which means they would train him, but they want more. But Duren would be the guy. To me, Duren would be exactly the guy they need up front. He'd be perfect. If they can find that somehow, if they gotta send Rui or send Austin, they can't send both. But if you gotta send one of those guys, I think it's worth it. Because you still need a perimeter player that can break down a defense a little bit and get to the basket. I think that's also just as important as a starting center, so that it can relieve a little bit of pressure off Luka and LeBron.
I think they would be interested in Rui because the fact is, Magic Man, correct me if I'm wrong, Beasley is a free agent. He is one of, but then also I think either the Tobias Harris or Tim Hardaway Jr. combo is on the other side of 30, and you may not decide to keep one or both of those guys. So if you get Rui, you would be substantially younger at that position with the same amount of success ratio.
Rui actually fits well on that squad, Gerald. That's actually
Yeah.
a pretty good move there.
Yeah, I agree. So if you throw some swaps and Rui or whatever you need to fit around Duran's salary, I could see that happening. Although Austin Reeves, they've had an issue trying to keep Joe that shooting guard position, not been able to find a perfect fit at times, either through injury or through just circumstance. They've drafted at that position to play off of Cunningham and haven't found a perfect fit. Do you think Austin would be a good fit in Detroit alongside Cade if that was the case? I'm just bringing back both. Sorry.
That's not going to be enough.
Yes,
not gonna be enough, though.
it would take the edge off Kate Cunningham. It would allow him to be more of a scorer, Gerald.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Well, again, just speculation at this point in time, not wishful thinking, but I think that the Lakers are probably on a faster timeline than what maybe some will anticipate, because the fact is, I don't think Magic Man and Joe, I think the mentality where we see summers off for this organization, because you know that Laker Tom has at times been very angry at this organization for not making moves. The Luka timeline is going to be sped up. I think as long as Luka has that aura out there that he can leave in 2 seasons, Magic Man, I think it also just says, you know what, the Lakers have to make some changes, and have to make some changes for the better sooner rather than later.
Gerald, probably sooner more than later. By the way, Gerald, I had a question for you. Do they still make Boone's Farm wine in the United States?
Boone's Farm wine. I'm going to look that up. I'm not familiar with it, but I have a feeling that they do, because if it comes up real easily, yes, they do. Magic
Boone's
Man.
Farm.
You could get it for as low as $4 a bottle.
Well, I think Clippers off season has been slamming back a few bottles of that Boone's Farm, because saying Zubac shut down Jokic. I mean,
he didn't shut down Jokic. He slowed down at times.
What planet are you on, man?
I mean, he caused Jokic to have a couple of, let's say, underperforming games, Magic Man. But then when Jokic turned it on, there's no one that can stop him, not even Zubac. But Zubac does play better defense on him than probably about anyone in the league. Statistically, it says that anyways, Magic Man. So, but yeah, even he can't stop or shut down Jokic. No one can. But he can slow him down from time to time. If he's facing up on him, I think that Zubac can play him pretty well. But when he backs up anyone, including Zubac, he's a lot harder guard. And I'll just leave it at that. But guys, it's been a great episode. But Joe and Magic Man, I want to get some final thoughts from you. Joe, I don't know. Are you excited about what the Lakers can do this offseason now that they have Luka? About the possibilities and about what?
Hold on, Joe. Clippers offseason. Jokic also, if I'm not mistaken, he also averaged a triple-double in that series, and the Nuggets won. So, as in the Joker, be gone. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, I'll start off with you before I hit it to Joe. Then, do you think that you'll be excited for what's going to go ahead? Do you think it's going to be active off season for the Lakers this off season?
I think so. Joe. There are multiple options here. Rob knows what the tasks ahead. I think he's going to try and be active.
Okay.
I would say I put the aggregate at 75-25 aggressive Rob this offseason.
Okay. Joe, do you concur that it's going to be a little bit more active off season than it was last season for the Los Angeles Lakers, Joe?
Much more active, but the first things first. I'd like to make sure that this next year LeBron is playing his last year. If they
That's a
sign him,
priority.
if they sign him to an extension, then we're in trouble.
And that's still in your mind, right? Again, because I'm not going to be dishonest. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just still saying it's a real possibility for the Lakers.
You sign LeBron for a 1+1 again, you are pretty much telling Luka and his
You're
game
cutting
that,
Luka's prime in half.
correct.
And Magic, I'll just leave you with this. In the LA Clippers series, 24 points he averaged, Jokic did, which is substantially down from his numbers. But he did average a triple-double, 24, 11, and 10.
I thought so, yeah. So you can't say you shut somebody down if they average a triple-double, sir.
No, his points are down, but he still shot 50% from the field and 45% from three. So as much as I'd like to say as a Zubac stan that he, statistically during the course of the regular season is the best against Jokic, he did not shut down by any stretch of the imagination. So I'll just leave it at that. And then again, at the end of the day,
What is this obsession with shutting people down?
I don't know.
It's getting tiring to hear that word.
Tell me about it.
It's societal's bullshit, and why my disdain for it continues to grow. And everyone's like, "Why are you so mad, Joe? Because you're fucking stupid. That's why. Because people are fucking stupid."
True.
Somebody who drops 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists got destroyed. Now, that's getting destroyed because Luka's the only basketball player that ever lived that can drop 30 and also not play defense the way you want him to play defense, especially when you got Swiss cheese behind you. What did you want the Lakers to do? What? Did you want Jamison III to play back there to protect? The Lakers had no big men worth playing at all. DFS is not a big man. He's more of a middle guy. So what is this language that keeps getting changed? The shit that's gone on the last 5 years with these, I'm imagining something and it's true because I imagined it. No, you're a fucking idiot. You're imagining stupid shit and no one is calling you out on it. Although it has changed a little bit. People are calling people out now because we're tired of it. Because you're a fucking idiot. And you need to be told you're a fucking idiot. And I would love to do it in person. It's much better to tell someone in person what a fucking moron they are, by the way.
It has a greater effect.
It is the most exhilarating feeling. I did this at a wedding once, and I didn't even know. I didn't even remember this. It happened 12 years after I did it. I didn't even know I did it. I talked to someone that was at the wedding who I hadn't seen in a while. Oh, my God, Joe, do you remember what you did to that guy? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? At so-and-so's wedding. I'm like, no. And then he's like, you remember that guy that said this, this, and that? I go, oh, that dickhead. Fuck him. He goes, do you know what he did that night? He goes, he left. He left that night. He left. I go, good. He shouldn't have been there in the first place. He's a fucking idiot. He should stay in his house and just be by himself. Because he'll be right if he talks to himself. It's just, it's tiring. It's tiring. It's tiring, and I have enough energy to go after it. That's the beautiful thing. Most people have to go drink, or they got to go talk to a psychiatrist, or they got to go get, I don't know, go in their safe spaces. Fuck your space. Fuck all this. If you had more people like me out there telling you what a fucking idiot you are, we'd have less problems. Grow the fuck up. You're an adult, aren't you? There are children that do better now listening and understanding than adults. How about that? I've talked to kids who are smarter than their parents. How the fuck did that happen? This is your parents? Like, I obviously couldn't say that because I don't want to, disrespect their parents. But I'm like, how the fuck? I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? How the fuck does this kid know what's going on? Parents are fucking idiots. Like, seriously, it's needs to be said. The Lakers. Oh, by the way, folks, in case you forgot, this is a team sport. And we've gone through every scenario. You know why we've gone through every scenario? Because we've watched every single game the last how many years? We've watched every single game except for one for me when I boycotted a game a couple of years ago. That was it. I've watched every game. All different parts. And then
why'd you boycott it?
Because I was tired of the style of play. I was like, fuck this, I'm not going to watch this anymore.
That's right. Yeah. I remember that now. Yeah.
Thameless, if the Knicks keep playing this well, Mitchell Robinson will not be traded because you saw yesterday how much he changes their dynamic defensively, rebounding. Now, his free throws, obviously, that's just like what I've talked about with Claxton. The free throws are going to be an issue.
I think Claxton can actually hit the rim, though, Drill.
Yeah, that's the thing. But we saw defensively what he did to change things around for the New York Knicks. He was a big plus in there. In fact, I saw that, especially that first half, Magic Man, when things could have really gotten out of hand for the Knicks, he came in there and changed it. And actually, they were close. He comes out. Then you saw the lead grow back up again for Boston. So he, as a rebounder, both offensively and defensively, well, that's what you want. You want a big guy like that. Doesn't have to be Mitchell Robinson, but you have to find someone with size like that can do the things like that. Rim protect, but not rim protect where it costs you rebounds. Because that's the thing with Turner, with a couple of the other high-end shot blockers. It takes away from the rebounding. Kessler, I know that that's why John and some others really like Kessler's, because the kid can still rebound, but yet is it one of the best rim protectors that's out there? It's hard to find that mix because if you go after a Turner, Magic Man, and I know we're just staying on a little bit longer, but I just wanted to get off my chest on that. If you go after a Turner or someone like that, Magic Man, those shot blockers that don't rebound well, that doesn't help your team if you're a bad rebounding team in the first place. Yes, he stretches 5, fantastic. Great. He fits those slots. Absolutely. If you're playing 5 out, but the Lakers are a terrible rebounding team. And that's something obviously they need to address in the off season.
Yeah. And Gerald, that's why guys like, I'll just use a couple of examples here. Steve Novak, great 3-point shooter, but not a very good, not a very good rebounder for size.
You guys talk about Luka Doncic in the comments about defense. That guy,
Steve Novak,
yeah, that guy's a traffic cone. Yeah, look up traffic cone on Wikipedia. That's probably his picture next to it.
But guys like him and guys like Mehmet Okur, you're right, Gerald. Like those 3-point shooters, if they're not proficient rebounders, you're gonna have to live with that. If you're gonna take 3-point shooting and a lack of rebounding.
I think Enes Kanter is the worst defensive big man I've seen on an island.
John Koncak.
Ooh, that's a good one, Joe.
It would be like between those two. Like that's really good. That's really good.
The only thing, Joe,
is another one, by the way.
Kanter probably has the most videos that humiliate him.
Yes.
As far as, that are out there because he's just younger and he's was last in the league compared to those centers. But we do need someone that could really take care of our rebounding, Joe, or someone.
I would love Isaiah Stewart because I know Isaiah Stewart would punch LeBron in practice when he's fucking around.
Those two get along so well. Yes, that's true. Absolutely. And then also like Draymond Green. It's so funny because I heard, on our playback.tv Lakers Fast Break tonight during the game, Trace Jackson Davis is such a dirty player. Whose team is he on and who does he play next to?
Mm-hmm.
One of the dirtiest players in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Dirtiest player of maybe this period of basketball, Magic Man?
Draymond?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, he fits to me like he's in another era. He could just be one of the guys, like Detroit and Boston and all that, as far as his dirty play is concerned in the 90s, Joe. But Draymond these days, as we saw again tonight, where he has this flailing thing whenever he seems fouled or whatnot, that he just has to go ahead and just like almost like you and I, have whatever we need to do from time to time. He just needs to hit somebody like he did Naz Reid tonight. And whether you say Naz Reid flopped, whatever, he did hit him flush in the face. It's just a point where, you know what, Draymond Green, if he gets another, was it one or two more tees, Magic Man, and he gets one. So if he gets one more tee, he is literally costing his team a suspension, Joe. I think he is the dirtiest player of this era of basketball.
I can honestly say this, and without hesitation. If I was a coach in the NBA, I would secretly have one of my bigs off the bench who isn't that important knock Draymond the fuck out, and I'd pay for his fines and the money that he loses in his suspension. Because I think that's what would stop Draymond. Draymond thinks he's invincible. He needs to get clocked because the embarrassment enough will kill it. That's the only way you stop him.
I would love to see if that's the
There's
case.
There's two guys in the NBA that I would love to fight.
Mm-hmm.
One is JJ Redick, and the other is Draymond Green. Just scrap. Just want to see how long they'd last.
And Magic Man, if that's the case, using Joe's logic there, I would love to see an Indiana Golden State final, because then you would have Draymond Green in a fight with James Johnson, and I would pick James Johnson to win.
James Johnson is not to be messed with, Gerald. You don't mess with that guy.
I put him above. I even put him above Steven Adams, to be honest.
I would say James Johnson is probably the most toughest NBA hombre you don't want to mess with at all.
7th-degree black belt, guys.
Yeah. That would not go well for Draymond Green. I don't even think the nut kicking would work, because usually some of those grandmasters have mastered that as well, Gerald. So I don't think Draymond.
I would pay James Johnson's fines and his salary.
What about his lawyer fees? He's probably gonna need a good one after that one.
You think he'd be that much of a bitch and sue him?
Draymond? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's even worse.
Yeah, he would.
A street fight and he got really beat up.
No, I meant on the court.
On the court.
The court. Yeah, he would still try to go after him.
He would still try to go after him. Yeah,
he'd be humiliated.
He would.
Yeah.
He would.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that.
But by the way, though, Gerald, I don't think there was any more dangerous play than attacking the rim and seeing Dikembe Mutombo's elbow.
Ooh, you're right on that. Ooh, that is an elbow.
I've seen him. I saw 4 guys break their noses coming in contact with his elbow. So one was Tom Gugliotta, one was Corey Maggette, one was Jason Williams, and one was Ray Allen. And those are only 4, Gerald. I'm pretty sure that there's about 15 names on that list who you broke your nose running into his elbow.
And then what's the worst part about Draymond, guys, is the fact that, okay, they're going back tied 1-1 back to their confines of their Golden State Chase Center arena. And Draymond, Joe, is 1 tee away from being suspended, which, again, for a team that's already hurting without, Steph Curry, whatever you think of Draymond as a player, and today he was absolutely awful. especially shooting, which is what you want him to do. But when he's hitting his shots, Joe, and he facilitates that offense, I mean, he does so much for that team, and he is at risk of ruining it all based on his behavior, Joe. Yeah, look, we corrected one. I said earlier, too, it is one. Yes. One
he keeps doing it because there's no repercussion. No one is.
Oh, there will be.
Suspending him isn't going to do anything. He needs to get clocked. See, there's 3 phases to people. Most of the time, you can talk to people. A lot of people you got to yell at, and then once in a while, you've got that guy that needs to get fucked up. And that's Draymond Green.
Need to be slapped silly, basically.
Like I'm talking ego destroying, punked kind of hit. That's what that guy needs. And it's got to be in front of a crowd because it would kill him. Because he'll get clowned the rest of his career.
Do you think if you're coaching, if you're Chris Finch, Sean, that you would actually say, like an Anthony Edwards or maybe a Nas Reed, somebody that he knows would get Draymond riled up? Would you go after that?
Gerald, if they had Pekovic, that would be the perfect guy to send after him. Nice. But no, I wouldn't play that game with him. He's trying to get in their heads. Obviously, looked like it's been working so far. We'll see what happens in game 3 or 4. But yeah, I wouldn't take the bait from him. Like
Luke,
Gerald, one of I know we questioned it a couple of summers ago, but it's obvious now that Coach Udoka and that front office in Houston knew what they were doing because they brought in the right vets for that team. Because you saw throughout that 7-game series that Draymond Green was trying to get into those young guys' heads. And if it wasn't for Steven Adams and Fred VanVleet, I think that series wouldn't have gone 7 games. I think it would have been quick.
Do you agree with Draymond's assessment on Brooks, though, that no one in this league cares about him? Or he, as far as 100%, he was derogatory to Brooks. 100%?
100%, yeah. I don't think anybody likes Dylan Brooks outside of his own family.
Wow, that's harsh. I mean, his effectiveness really was minimized.
He's not a very likable individual, Gerald. That's just kind of the nice way of putting it. He's not a very nice person. And a lot of people aren't. Joe's just correct on that assessment too. A lot of people aren't, but it's how you project that on other people. See, Joe doesn't like other people either, but he owns a business, so he has to project a certain kind of je ne sais quoi about not giving a shit.
Luke Walton was asking you, Joe, what if we could get Draymond here in a trade? And I said no. Joe would probably, yeah.
He would retire from Lakers Shots Break if we acquired Draymond Green.
Joe would not be exactly the happiest camper in the world.
He would retire.
No, for sure, guaranteed. If I have to hear about another Bronny James situation or a Draymond Green coming, I'm done with Lakers Fast Break. I'm not saying I'm going to stop watching Laker games, but I'm not going to be talking about. I'm not going to be wasting my time with it. That was the only reason why I came back was because Mark and Vari begged me to come back. I had no idea that it was going to be like that because I can't. Because now it's really time wasting. It's wasting my time. And again, Draymond's not coming to LA. Come on. It's got to be. It would have to be one of those things where they sign him for like the minimum or something.
I think he's retiring a Warrior along.
Yeah, that's yeah. This thing needs this. You've got the next. You got the superstar that just.
I'm not putting the Bryce thing out of possibility entirely.
Yeah, that would be it for me. That would be it, and that probably would take me out of watching Laker games. I'm tired of LeBron James and everything around them. I'll be honest with you guys. You
I
probably
know
already
you are.
know that, but I'm tired of LeBron James. I really am. And he's a very difficult guy to cheer for. He's the most unique player I've ever seen. A guy that talented.
There
A
will
guy
never be
that
a more polarizing athlete in our time.
it's weird because usually when you're polarizing, it's because you're a pain. Like it's something related to basketball that you don't like. Like I didn't dislike Kwame Brown off the court, right? I didn't dislike Smush Parker off the court. I don't really dislike anybody really off the court unless it's like a piece of shit scumbag like a Anthony Edwards or that fuckface in Miami that plays for the Dolphins. I don't even like saying his name. The Cheetah, the fucking piece of shit. They should call him just the piece of shit. These kind of people, they're kind of away from, in a lot of ways, they're away from my teams. But LeBron, he's such a I can't even explain it without going off. He's like a woman, a bad woman. That's what he is. Nothing's his fault. Is an excuse for everything. And I've never been with a bad woman, by the way. This is going off of people that good friends of mine that have been in marriages and getting divorced or gotten divorced. Like because I wouldn't be able to tolerate it. There's no way in a million years I could handle 5 minutes of somebody like that. So it's difficult because it adds to the misery that I have to cheer for him because he's a Laker. But he's so draining. He's a draining person. He drains everything. You can't even enjoy the good parts a lot of times because he always seems to cover it up with the bad. And it's not, again, he's not a bad person off the court to say, oh, well, fuck him. It's the way he conducts himself. I have so many friends that stopped watching Laker basketball as soon as they found out he was coming to LA. So many. They're like, "Oh, you still cheering for LeBron?" That's the dialogue every time I see him. I have friends I haven't seen in a year. Hey, you still cheering for LeBron, huh? I'm like, what the fuck? I just came here to say hello. But I'm tired. I'm just tired of his game. I'm tired of his the whole discussion is so mundane and played out. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. Oh, he's the only guy that's played after his 5th year of being alive while he's shooting left-handed. Like, it's like, dude.
Well, Joe, if you feel that way, imagine being one of these people's personal assistants, and then just heighten up the amplitude about 100 times.
Well, you have
as far as the constant, like you and other Laker. And by the way, Gerald, I think Joe speaks for the majority of Laker fans when he says that they feel drained because it's a toxic relationship, Joe. That's what it is. It's always about what LeBron can get. Okay, so Joe's gonna appreciate this. LeBron's about LeBron.
We've made that point very clearly. I've never seen anyone, and this is an ego-driven sport, and ego is needed.
LeBron does things for LeBron.
But LeBron I have no doubt in my soul, if LeBron was on the Titanic, he'd find a way to get on the boat before women and children. That's how much he loves himself. And all this stuff about charity and he does this, he does that. It's all to benefit himself. It's not really like that's the fact that he went when he did the school thing in Ohio. The fact that he put on glasses and started talking like he was some kind of reverend. These are little things that you catch. These are little things.
He's the new LeVar Burton,
right?
Reading Rainbow.
Why couldn't you just come out like dressed like you normally do? Why did you have to? Because there's this facade, there's this fakeness about him that's so apparent there. And at the same time, he's made a habit of projecting that. Oh, you're being certain things when
he
he's actually
told Kevin Love to fit in, not fit out. That was like, really.
Well, Kevin Love's another douchebag.
Yeah,
Not
well,
in a
yeah,
bad
but
way.
but Joe, but you're proving your own point there. It's this esoteric bullshit.
Okay. I know Kobe wasn't the easiest guy to play with, but there was something there that mattered that he did. He showed up and he won. He won, and he won in a way that you're supposed to win. He didn't win every time, but he put his heart and his soul and everything in it. Well, Joe, LeBron trains and he does this, he does that. Maybe it's just a different execution that I don't relate to. It could be that. It could be just me. Maybe I'm just not with how he does it. There's plenty of people I know that are LeBron fans, including family members. Oh, I like LeBron. I like how he does things. And then maybe there's a generational gap there. Whatever. In the end, the discussion now is more about it's about winning, not more about. It's about winning. And if you're not going to win, then it's time to move on. All this other stuff we're talking about LeBron is really kind of a waste of time. It doesn't really solve any problems, and it just creates more tension, and it creates more dialogue that's not conducive to winning. My number one thing in this discussion is I want the next phase to go now. I want it to start now. You can't fully go all the way until he's gone. He's all encompassing. It's too much. You have to go on. And that's really the main subject here. It's nothing else. All the other stuff that I said.
So this is essentially what you're saying is this is essentially an Old Yeller situation.
Yeah.
It's
I said
Old
that.
Yeller.
Speaking of Old Yeller, so I that's funny you brought that up because a few months back I made a comment on Facebook. I'm on Facebook because I talk to a lot of possible clients, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of recommendations. People in my network send me out, and I see things, right? So once in a while, I'll get a good post where I will comment on a leisure situation, right? And someone had talked about a dog, and I commented that it may be a time for Old Yeller time. And man, the ferocity that came from that. Holy shit. All the single moms came out of the woodwork, right? All the single moms,
all the wine women,
all the overweight, not getting any single moms that didn't know how to keep a marriage. All of a sudden, start telling me about who I am. I'm like, man, I didn't go off on them.
If the dog was old or sick, and you just
I didn't go off on them.
Yeah,
I just started. I most of it I ignored. I think I made one more comment. I was like, "Look, man, I'm just trying to give you a solution here. Dogs die, people.
Yeah,
dogs die, and if you can't afford a dog, euphemism or euthanasia whatever they call it, right? Then maybe you should just handle it yourself. Don't you guys like burying things in your backyard? Do it yourself. Save the $2,000. I can't believe you said this. What a disgusting person.
Oh my God.
I wanted to say, bitch, she just asked, who can I talk to save money for putting down my dog? Mm-hmm. Old Yeller saves you everything.
He's right.
They've done that for thousands of years, folks. You guys all act like this shit didn't happen before 2000.
No, they've been taking dogs out to the back of the barn.
Jesus Christ, people, grow the fuck up. Yes, LeBron, it's Old Yeller time. It's Old Yeller time. There's a new sheriff in town. Time to build around him. You can't have two sheriffs. And there's not going to be an apology. And I don't want to keep saying I don't give a shit, because usually I clown on people who say they don't give a shit. Because most of the people who do say that, they actually do. But I really don't. I really don't. If I say it, I want you all to believe me there. I actually really, it's important for me to really have you all understand that you really, really understand and know that I really don't. You'd have to hang out with me for a couple weeks, and I can prove it to you. I can prove to you that whatever you're seeing right now is who I am. You'd have to come hang out with me for a few weeks. And I'll tell you right now, if you think my life is good on the air, you have no idea how good it is in real life. It's so much better. It really is. I'm not trying to boast. It's just true. No one bothers me. And I got people that I'm friends with 20, 30. It's coming up to almost 40 years for some of my people. I've had friendships for over 25 years with people I haven't even had an argument with. I've been married 17 years. My kids don't talk back to me. I have clients that have never given me below a 5-star review. So I'm telling you guys the truth. This isn't a lie. And the part of the excitement of the not giving a shit is towards those who deserve that kind of venom. I don't do it to people who don't deserve it. That's not fair. That's not fair. I don't take shit out on my wife. I don't take shit out on my kids. I don't take shit out on my friends. I may be an asshole sometimes, wise ass type asshole, but
type asshole,
right?
Sometimes,
but that's all in good and fun most of the time. And if it gets over,
most of the time,
if it gets out of hand, then I gotta okay, relax. Sorry if you thought that way. You're an idiot if you did. But again, that's not what I meant.
and he's still, even at this age, Joe, very divisive player. In the comments, no joker disagrees with you.
Just the interview he did today. I'm gonna go on a vacation with my family, and then I'll make a decision. I'm like, bitch, you know you're coming back. Shut the fuck up. That's the shit that pisses me off right there. Right there. That's the stuff. And it's always been there. It's never not been there. It's just not. He is nothing like me. I don't relate to him in any way. Anyway. And most of the people that watch the Lakers don't either.
Go ahead, Magic.
No, I was just going to say, sometimes there are athletes like this. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is another one, Gerald. He just takes the oxygen out of the room as soon as he walks in there. Like, he has to be, not only does, like, there are certain people who are the life of the party but don't have to make themselves the center of attention. Those two guys have to make themselves the center of attention.
I actually think that Aaron got bad the last 5 years, whereas LeBron has always been bad in that department. That's a good example. Aaron Rodgers is that guy. But I don't remember him being that guy for the first 15 years of his career. So you're right. That's a good example. LeBron has always been that guy. And it's
well, another thing I just have to bring this up is he so obviously there are plants in the media, Gerald, that LeBron uses for cover. And I thought that marshmallow type interview he gave, where the interviewer asked him, so do you read every book that we see you before? And some of the books were upside down, Gerald. Some of he had his finger on like the index of one of the pages, and he said, "Oh yes, I read all of the books. Oh yes, even the one upside down, LeBron." Right.
Again, he's just such a mercurial and divisive player. He always has been and always will be. Even in this chat, there's still so many that want to defend him, and Still
Well, there are
somebody that wants
similarities.
to-
Yeah, you're right, Nick. There are similarities. There is ego behind him. I have a big ego. I'm not disputing that. But I'm not if I'm on a team, there's no way I'm running it the way he does. I just again I have no way of proving that, unfortunately, but you'd have
Well,
to hang
yeah,
out with me.
actually, we kind of do. I mean, yeah, everyone's got an ego.
I'm not a fake. Here,
yours
I'm
is
not fake. LeBron is fake. Guys, LeBron is fake, and you cannot deny that. There's a lot of fakeness in him. Just like Sean explained the book thing. Why do you have to go out of your way to show people that you read? What does that prove? That means there's an inferiority complex that's brewing in LeBron. There is a massive inferiority. Look, a grown-ass man that's accomplished what he's accomplished, and he's still got that complex, it's a problem. And he's said some really bad things in terms of just idiocy. As a guy that's someone who's going to make an impact in society, you have a lot of people paying attention to what he says. And when he says stupid shit without backing, that's when you get upset. And it's not just LeBron James. There are plenty of guys that do this. Plenty of people that do this. But of course, we're going to be talking about LeBron because it's a Laker thing and it's a Laker show.
And the only reason I bring that up is because Alex Caruso was on the Pat McAfee show, and Pat McAfee asked him straight up, does LeBron read all those books? And Alex laughed and said, no, he doesn't.
See, at least guys like Shaq and Kobe and Rick and Derek, when they were assigned books by Phil Jackson, they straight out came out and said,
I ain't reading that.
They ain't reading it. So why do you have to front? What are you fronting for? If you stop thinking like that, maybe your concentration would be better when things matter more. That's the problem with I clowned the single mom and women tonight. I wasn't planning on doing that. It just happened,
You
right?
pissed off that demographic this time.
But what's worse than those demographics, those areas, is a man who feels he's not all there. That inferiority complex is jealous, whatever. That's a dangerous man. Those guys a lot of times rule countries. They end up ruling countries and have to compensate. LeBron is the biggest compensator I've seen in terms of the position he's in. I have never seen a star player in any sport that's in his position that constantly needs that reassurance of who he is. And it's hard to cheer for somebody like that sometimes. Shaq had a lot of that too. Shaq has to always, but maybe Shaq's childlike thing and maybe the other side of things is it kind of makes up for it. Because he is, I've seen him with kids. I've seen him with people, and he's a beautiful man with little kids wanting to get an autograph and all that. And then of course you look at LeBron, and LeBron's like telling a kid to back off. Now, I try not to get on celebrities too much when they get caught doing that, because when you have people that are hounding you nonstop, even if it's a kid, sometimes it's like, fuck, I just want to get into the restaurant. Like, I get that. Barry Bonds is a good example too, but the thing is with Barry Bonds is he never compensated. He knew he was a dick. He didn't care to be a dick. He didn't care that you knew he was a dick, and he just went all the way with it. That's why I didn't care. LeBron should have probably taken that advice, but he didn't want to ever do that. He wanted to play both sides, and and in the end, he became polarizing because you never really got the real guy. And the Joker, what are you going to do? I can badmouth whoever I want. What are you going to do about it? I'm Batman.
I think
baby. I'll take you out.
I think that was Clippers, who was saying that you don't badmouth Zubats.
I didn't. When the hell did I talk about Zubats? The only person that talks about Zubats is you.
Because we traded him for Mike Muscala. I'm not going to let the Lakers live that down.
Can you at least live it down somewhere else instead of hearing it every day?
I run the channel, so no.
Mm-hmm.
What is that a threat?
No, just telling you. You tell me, can I do it somewhere else? I just say no.
Oh no!
Speaking of guys who own channels, Joe owns his channel. What's coming up at the latest Joe Soro experiment?
Well, we'll talk. We'll talk a little bit about. I want to say I was going to do a show probably the midweek, but I didn't get enough material this week, so I'm probably going to wait till this weekend to really get into some good stuff.
Okay.
So stay tuned. We'll be there soon. Almost at 100 subs. Should probably have it by this weekend, so we'll do celebrating then. But in the meantime, being on the Lakers show and talking Lakers, my first request from Jeannie and Rob: rebuild for Luka, please. And you don't know what that means.
Acosta, he's doing his things on his channel. No joker. He just did a preview of what the Lakers could get as far as a center or big man is concerned. You got to go and check it out on Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. His channel's on YouTube.
Oh, and do us a favor too, JJ. Can you please tell, and this goes for Luka as well, Luka, stop fucking talking to the refs every 5 minutes, and please fix this summer. And please tell LeBron to stop flopping. He wasn't flopping as much the first 6 years in the NBA. I don't know what happened this year.
Joey, you're not going to change Luka wanting to the refs. He's always going to be wanting to the refs. It's just who he is. You're never going to get him to stop. I said that the day we traded for him. He has certain things that you just have to get used to.
Yeah, it's like being with a beautiful woman that farts in her sleep, Joe. You're just gonna have to deal with it.
And on that note,
literally took his breath away.
Let's close the show now.
All right, and on that note,
the way I wanted to end the show.
You know, the farts is always what gets Joe. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Thanks so much again for joining us. DBSH, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo! Go ahead and check out his great channel. He does a lot of great 2K streams. Plus, he's got a lot of shorts that you need to check out at the Daniel Berry Sports Highlights channel. I think he's got like over 7,000 subscribers. So, man, great job, my friend. Great job. Wish we were as high on that food chain as you are. But again,
maybe if you stop talking about Zubats, we will.
Oh, shut up. But again, once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is, of course, Joe. How should I say it? Let's ruin a demographic on each show.
I'm just giving you an example of people that were after me after I gave them a very cost-effective decision.
I'll give you that. I will give you that it was a cost-effective.
These assholes have dogs they can't afford, yet you give them a good example on how to handle it, and all of a sudden they get butthurt.
Yes.
I mean, the stupidity there is at an all-time level, right?
Yes. And Magic Man, was I right about the Golden Knights, or was I right about the Golden Knights?
You sure were, Gerald. You sure were.
Dude, they went into overtime. What do you mean you were right?
I did. You know, Magic Man was saying I should have more confidence in them going into the playoffs, and I said I didn't because you see the signs sometimes with certain teams, Joe. You just know whatever the record is, it's just not reflective of what it ultimately ends up being. And I just didn't think the Golden Knights were going to be
like
as
the Lakers
strong. Like the Lakers. There you go. But again, now to 0-2. They've lost both games at home. I don't hold out much for them. But again, it is a Lakers Fast Break. It is, of course, the Magic Man, Sean Grice, along with me, Joe Glassford, and Joe Soro. Of course, the Joe Soro Experiment, Simblades, and then, of course, also his game Corrupt on Steam as well. All right, guys. Truly great to have you here. We'll try to throw up a show this weekend as well, along with Joe's doing one on his channel. we'll do one on this channel, whether it's us or the Lakerholics. We'll go ahead and let you know.
Do those guys still
Scheduled for
exist?
you. Yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
does. Jamie was in the chat today, and I asked him. I said,
You sure
are you guys
are they gonna be available this Saturday, or do they need their Yoo-hoo
Who
first?
knows? I don't know. They just, those old guys.
Tom's Coke. It's not Yoo-hoo. It's Coke.
Yeah, something like that. So, whatever they feel like it. If not, we'll make up for it. We'll have a show.
And Jamie, you Vando loving bum.
You know what? Empire Jeff loves Vando.
You're a bum,
that's one
Jeff.
thing we'll
You're a
address.
bum.
We'll have a show that's
You're
going
all
to focus
bums.
in on some of these guys, these Gabe Vincents and Vandos of the world, and we're really going to go hard on that because I know, again, just like LeBron is very mercurial and divisive, Vanderbilt is as well. So we'll go ahead. Nobody seems to be defending Gabe very much. But for some reason, there's some that still defend Vando. They think he's this high-level defender, and I'm like, is he? Is he?
In your imagination, he is.
Wait, I don't know how high-level you could be when you only play 15 minutes a game now. So,
Yeah.
Is he?
Oh, he was a plus 12 in 6 minutes, Gerald. He gets the game ball.
Yes. Well, there you go. But don't ask him to catch a pass down low. That's hard.
Or finish.
Gabe is always streaky, no joker. That'll never change. So again, do you like the streaks or not like the streaks? And most people don't. Most people don't seem very hesitant on trying to put him in any trade that we do this offseason. Yes, Stainless James Sweet is awesome. Jamie Sweet is always our Mr. Admiral Akbar here at the show. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Joe Sorrell. Please check out his channel, the Joe Sorrell channel on the weekend. And Magic Man Chung Rice. Check him out whenever he decides to stop by here or at the Playback channel. We always have good stuff then going forward. Yes, I will put up the playoffs tomorrow and over the weekend as well. Catch it there and catch it here with us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. I think we're all waiting to say something. Go ahead. Y'all have your mics on. We're running out of time.
I've spoken enough.
That's for sure.
Why does it